shifts in workforce demographics, evolving employee expectations, and the impact of global events such as the COVID-19 pandemic. These have all accelerated changes in how we work, right? Everything we do, how we perform, how we are managed, how we are compensated, all of this has changed in recent years. This was one of the topics that was discussed, of course, at the leading list. Let me say that again. This was one of the topics that was discussed at the Old Mutual Thought Leaders Forum. And the topic was leading the future of work. And I'm so pleased to tell you that Lindiwe Sebesho, the managing director of Remchannel, is with us in studio this morning to talk about the changing world of work. Lindiwe, welcome to 702 Breakfast. As you well know, COVID-19 hit us like nothing we had seen in recent memory. And this is why it was so important to come up with the Future of Work 2023 report.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Bongani, and good morning to everybody. Yes, it did. I mean, they say we don't waste a crisis, though. So we've learned a lot from COVID-19, and what we are seeing in terms of the future of work is some changes, particularly flexible work arrangements. The other day, I heard about chrono working. As I was coming in, I heard you guys talking about, time and being on time. So chrono working is a new way of enabling employees to actually work according to their body clocks. Can you imagine? So it's not just about hybrid work. It's not about just remote working. There's a whole lot more that's coming up to embrace the flexibility that came with COVID.
Chrono working. So if I'm a morning person, then rather have me in the morning than in the evening, for example, if I'm not a night owl.
Absolutely. And it's all about creating an environment where people can be at their most productive, and therefore allowing that through the flexible work arrangements that we are seeing.
See, I am a morning person. Maybe my bosses knew something or two about that. But also one of the things we have seen in recent years is, as you say, the flexibility of remote work. I can't tell you how many unnecessary meetings I used to have, having to drive to a client to meet with them when it can all be done online now.
Absolutely. So we don't want people to be commuting just to compute. So there is definitely that, arrangement that now talks to, in fact, quite a lot of the work-life integration that I think a lot of workers post-COVID have seen it necessary.
But we've seen some resistance with some managers, particularly those micro managers who need to look over everyone's shoulder to make sure every box is ticked.
Absolutely. And that's one of the ways that we've said companies need to help everybody embrace this new world. So let's really focus on what people have to deliver. Let's let those managers that are very traditionalist and want to see bums on a seat think differently about what exactly people need to be focused on, instead of just wanting people to be in the office. As I said, please don't let people commute just to compute, because most people are able to do a lot of what they need to deliver whilst elsewhere other than in the office.
The other difficulty, though, is work is about so much more than just performance. It's around the culture of the organization. It's around the relationships that are built. It's around whether you have people who can advocate for your career trajectory, right? All of those things are a little trickier in the new world of work.
Absolutely, and hence the hybrid environment, where you're trying to actually still enable people to collaborate. You're still enabling that human interaction, which is very important. I think at Old Mutual, it's a very key aspect of how we look at it, particularly for people that are newer or that are just coming into the workforce, that need to actually understand the work environment, the work culture. So it's really also about the customer. How do we make sure that people are actually working in a way that best serves the customer, but also in a way that helps them collaborate and create collectively the solutions that the customer expects?
If I'm working from home, Lindiwe Sebesho is my MD. How do I impress her?
You deliver. You keep in touch. You make sure you make sure that you know what it is that your role outputs are. You make sure that you are in touch with your other colleagues. You make sure that your customer, as I said, remains the key focus in terms of what it is that you need to do. So Lindiwe Sebesho is really expecting you to be productive, is really expecting you to ask for support when you need support, and is really expecting you to just manage yourself in such a way that you continue being productive all out.
Because ultimately, if I'm performing, those little things that you would have observed even in the office environment are still easy to pick up even if I'm working from home. So are we here in South Africa in line with global changes and shifts around the world of work?
Absolutely, we are. We actually did a recent survey to check how many organizations have adopted, for instance, a hybrid work environment, and it was over 80%. So as I said earlier, we didn't waste the COVID crisis. There's a lot of organizations that have embraced these different ways of working, and we're seeing a lot of that. But it's not for everybody. So each organization needs to look at its strategy, looks at its customers, and see how best it is that they need to deliver to those.
Gosh, you're such a good interview. I could speak to you every single day. Lindiwe Sebesho, of course, as I say, is the managing director of Remchannel. What's the culture in your organization? Has everyone been brought back to the office? Is there resistance to working from home? What changes are you seeing? Retirement in South Africa remains a challenge and will have generational impacts on the socio-economic well-being of our country. And that's why the inaugural Old Mutual Thought Leaders Forum brought together foremost thinkers, both local and international, folks committed to reshaping the future of retirement outcomes for South Africans. And together with industry experts, they have influenced insights, ideas, and new solutions that could result in better retirement outcomes. And this included what you've just heard now, the future of work, but also employee benefits. And for more information, you can download the Mindspace Thought Leadership publication or visit oldmutual.co.za/Thought Leaders Forum for more information.
702 is in conversation with the Old Mutual Thought Leaders Forum, discussing the future of South Africa's retirement landscape.